It goes from your local Kroger to your local McDonald's, Starbucks. Every business that you see out there, the vast majority of them, a lot of them, so the vast majority of them are on triple net leases. They pay a base rent and then they pay their share of taxes, insurance, and common area maintenance.
Welcome. This is the Hot Real Estate Investing Podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping others through real estate investing. Our hosts interview guests from all aspects of real estate investing who generously share valuable experiences and advice. Whether you're starting out or an experienced investor, this is the show for you.
Hello, and how's it going? My name is Travis Shelton, and welcome to the Hot Real Estate Investing Podcast, where I interview guests who want to help others investing in real estate. We keep these podcasts fun, quick, and full of value. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We're really looking forward to a great discussion with our guest today. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr.Sam Dweik, husband and future father of a baby girl, founding partner in Aspen Development Group, a co-founder of Memphis Dentures and Implants, founding partner and chief real estate officer for Dental Implant Professionals. Sammer, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to talk today. Excited, looking forward to it.
Definitely. Well, I gave a little bit of your bio, but can you give our audience maybe your 30-second elevator pitch, a little bit more about yourself and your real estate focus?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm a dentist. I'm a general dentist. I graduated in 2018, and I opened up my denture and implant practice in around 2020. And while I was starting that, I dived into commercial real estate. I started commercial real estate investing with my family. We're all kind of learning it together. And now I've consider myself like a full-time commercial real estate investor. And at the same time, I'm also opening up new locations across the country for new implant and denture offices.
That's awesome. We always start our podcast off with some motivation. So can you share your motivational quote with our audience that you brought?
My quote is a very unique quote. It is not only an inspirational quote, it is a Chinese curse. And the reason I love this quote is it reminds me of how unique and crazy of times that we live in. This is the most unique period of history ever. Our generations before us have never experienced the stuff that we're experiencing. And this not only brings massive opportunities, it also brings massive challenges. This quote reminds me, I always remember it, that with these opportunities and challenges, it requires us to be super adaptable, highly focused, and highly motivated to take advantage and to protect ourselves from the opportunities and the challenges that are ahead of us.
I love it. I couldn't agree more. You know, it's funny, like every time someone says, "Oh, these are challenging times," I'm like, well, sure they are, because we've never experienced them, right?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
It's also, we're at this information age that we literally have so much information at just the tip of our fingers, and now with AI and just everything that's happening with that at such a rapid pace, I mean, the world changes every day. Yeah, it really is interesting times. I like that quote for sure.
So,
yeah. Do you know why it's called why it's a curse?
Well, it's a curse because it's a double-edged sword, right? You know, some of the worst periods in history are also the most interesting times in history, right? So we're experiencing some very crazy challenges right now, and interesting times are turbulent, good and bad times. So that's why it's a curse and a blessing. It's double-edged.
That's cool. I like that. All right. Well, now kind of into the main topic, how can you help our audience of real estate investors?
Absolutely. So I want to introduce the audience into the world of commercial real estate investing. Specifically, I want to say triple net investing and retail. A lot of people focus on residential and multifamily, which are amazing, but commercial real estate, specifically retail, gets kind of not spoken about as much. And I kind of want to just introduce people to the opportunity that it brings, the challenges, and how to get started, and the opportunities that come with it.
What is triple net leasing, or what is commercial triple net leasing?
Commercial triple net leasing, in a nutshell, is basically you sign a lease with a tenant. These are, they're not residential tenants or commercial tenants 99% of the time. They are tenants that they pay base rent, and on top of that, they pay your taxes, their share of taxes, their share of common area maintenance, and their share of insurance. So I don't want to say it's passive investing, but it's the closest thing to passive investing, where you get basically, mailbox money. You have tenants that they pay for everything. You just get a check.
And these tenants are commercial, like you said, so they're business owners. So if
Yes.
in a strip mall, let's say you have like your grocery store and all those other tenants, all those people are paying likely triple net leases to someone that owns that strip mall, let's say.
Absolutely. So it goes from your local Kroger to your local McDonald's, Starbucks. Every business that you see out there, the vast majority of them, a lot of them, so the vast majority of them are on triple net leases. They pay a base rent, and then they pay their share of taxes, insurance, and common area maintenance.
Can you explain a little bit more about what opportunities exist in the value add, single and multifamily tenant retail space in these commercial triple net leasings?
Commercial real estate is basically the creation, buying, and selling of financial products that are backed by real estate. That's truly the 40,000 foot overview of what commercial real estate investing is. And that even includes multifamily, where you're taking assets that could be generating not enough money or zero money, and your goal is to add value by finding tenants that will sign a lease for a length of period that have a certain level of financial security, and based off of those variables, it has a value in the market. So the opportunity in value add real estate that I do is I find opportunities that have an opportunity for me to add significantly more to the income stream, and then I buy and sell and create those income streams basically. So if you find, for example, a better example is, say you find a vacant Pizza Hut, right? The real estate's great, it's awesome, but it's empty and it's worth X amount. Well, that property can be worth significantly more if you add value to it by fixing it up, putting lipstick, painting it, finding the right broker to find you the right tenant for it. And once you have a tenant and it starts producing an income stream, you could sell that income stream, and that's how you can create value in it.
Interesting. So like in multifamily value add, right? I'm looking for a little bit of a distressed property in a good area, and I'm trying to bump rents or decrease expenses. But in this commercial world, what you're trying to really do is kind of the same thing. Find that commercial property that's either a little bit run down or vacant even, and not producing any income, and improve that asset, and then kind of put a stabilized tenant in it to ultimately make, pretty good cash flow. And now it's all still the same factors, right? Because it is a business. It's based on cap rates and whatnot, right?
Exactly. So it's almost the overall concept of it is identical to multifamily, except that your tenant is America's businesses. You're housing America's businesses instead of residential tenants, right? And it's very similar. You can find properties that are renting below where they need to be. So you can acquire properties, raise the rents, and sell them that way. Or you can buy properties that have zero rent, distressed properties, vacant properties, create an income stream and sell those. So it's very similar to multifamily.
Now, when you sell them, who's the end buyer? It's not the McDonald's or the Pizza Hut. It's like another real estate investor that's just buying it for the cash flow, or who is that end buyer?
Yeah, great question. So there is a massive market for these products. That's why I tell people to really understand this is you need to look at this as a financial product. Just as there's buyers of bonds, mortgages, stocks, securities, it's the same thing with this. Is the entire market of people that buy these properties, real estate investors, institutional investors, funds, whatever you want to say, they acquire these properties for the cash flow that they bring. So I'll give you an example. Say your local Starbucks, right? Your local Starbucks has a 15-year lease that generates, throwing out a number, say $150,000 a year for 15 years, and it's backed by a multi-billion-dollar company, and they're selling it at a 6% cap rate. All that means is if you look at a financial product, all it is just, it's a financial product that gives you 6% for 15 years, and it's a triple A bond because it's Starbucks, right? That's all it is.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And how do you find these tenants? Like you said, commercial brokers. Are you doing any of that work, or is that kind of like the team aspect within this world that you're finding these commercial brokers that are finding you really great tenants, or the Starbucks of the worlds to utilize these assets?
So, very good question. It's a mixture of both. You can reach out to these tenants directly yourself as an investor, be like, hey, I have this, X property, and it's a great location, has these fundamentals. I think it'd be fantastic for you, Starbucks. Are you interested? You can reach out to them directly and do that, and you can, avoid the real estate fees. I personally don't recommend that. I don't have the time, and I don't, it's not something I'd recommend for 90% of investors. I would absolutely recommend finding a third-party broker that is highly skilled, that has a track record, that's worked with a lot of these highly qualified, successful tenants that have those connections. I would have him or her be the broker to find these tenants for you.
Very nice. And then, like with the triple net, are there ever pushbacks? Like, do sometimes the tenants say, no, I don't want to deal with the maintenance of the building. I want you to still deal with everything, but I'll just pay you rent. Are there situations like a double net lease or anything unique that like struggles sometimes or negotiations that you have to kind of meet in the middle with when you are placing these tenants?
Absolutely. So, there are, I'll give you one specific tenant, a government tenant. Government tenant rarely, if ever, sign triple net tenants. They want full service leases where they want you to pay the utilities, the taxes, the insurance, everything, and you just give them a very large gross lease, and then you pay that personally. So it's up to you. Me personally, I love triple net. It's a lot easier to deal with. It's simpler, and I push all my tenants toward the triple net lease. I've tried gross lease, I've tried full service leases. It's not for me. So, yeah. And then
there's got to be some more behind that. I got to hear a horror story. I got to hear something that's happened.
I will.
Okay.
And the crazy thing is about that, the market itself values triple net higher than gross lease, right? So what I mean by that is, I'll give you an example. Say you have X tenant, a national tenant, that if their lease is triple net, the market would value it around a 6% cap rate, right? If they were a gross lease, that same person or same investors, they would value it immediately for like a 6 to maybe like a 7% cap rate. So they're going to pay significantly less just because it's gross lease, because it's more headache for them. It's more work. It's more management. It decreases the value on the secondary market.
That makes total sense. Yeah, it makes it a lot cleaner and smoother. Totally makes sense to me. So like if somebody wants to get involved in this world, right? There's so many gurus out there to fix and flip and multifamily syndications, but like I rarely, if ever, have heard much information on commercial, value add, what we're talking about today. So are there gurus out there? Are there coaches? Where would someone go to find out more about these investment opportunities, I guess?
That's a great question. There are a few people online that, offer videos that talk about this. I think Manny Koshman has a pretty, a lot of his videos, before you go too deep into his program, he offers a lot of good advice on how to start with stuff like this. It's all available online. For me personally, I didn't have, per se, a mentor, a guru that helped me through this, kind of just threw myself in there. What I found that helped me the most to learn this is study your local market. It is so critical. Go by case studies. So that's my recommendation, is look at case studies. And what I mean by case studies, that say you live in Detroit, Michigan, right? Look in that market, look at the buildings in your area, the local building down the street. What did it sell for 5 years ago? Why did it sell for that much? What tenants did they put into it? At what leases did they put them into it? And what did they sell it at? Is when you go look at these case studies of your surrounding areas, it'll give you an idea of what's working, what's not. How do these people create value? A good way to get started in this is there are some videos and some courses online. There's a lot of Facebook groups, and honestly, there's a phenomenal community on Twitter, the commercial real estate Twitter group with, amazing experts that talk about their experiences. But just learning and reading about people's case studies has been the thing that's helped me tremendously. And I think for viewers, if they just see how people turned X building into Y result and seeing the processes of how they did that, just seeing examples of that is the best way to learn something like this.
Where do you find those case studies? Are people just sharing them on Twitter or on social media? Yeah. So just kind of follow those people doing this and they're sharing that information. Because there's nowhere can you go to something like LoopNet and kind of see what things have been sold for or leased for? I mean, or is there anywhere else that one might search to look at for more case studies?
Absolutely. So, starting out, try to keep your expenses as low as possible. Looking at LoopNet and CorrectC is probably one of the best ways to go about it, right? It's just looking at what's for sale in your market, seeing how they valued it. You can, you go online, you go to CorrectC, you'll see your local down the street Starbucks is for sale for $2 million. Well, why is it worth $2 million? I'll tell you, because the NOI of it is this much. Its lease term is this much. The cap rate that they're valuing it is at this much. You keep seeing enough of those, you'll start realizing what the market is, what people are valuing, why things are worth this much. If you want to delve a little bit deeper into this stuff, a big investment that I made when I first started into this, I just knew I wanted to do the commercial real estate. And I was like, I want to learn this, and I don't really want to rely on just third-party people, is I bought a subscription to CoStar. Yeah, it's just very expensive, especially when you're first starting out. You're a new dentist. It costs me it's like $8,000 a year. It's a lot of money, but it is also invaluable because when you access that, it literally will show you the price history of buildings. And that's one thing that it clicked in my head. When I was looking in my area, I saw this old Mexican restaurant, right? It got sold for $1.7 million in 2021. And I literally look, it's for sale for $3.5 billion. I'm like, well, how did it double in value? Like, what caused this to increase double in value, right? So I looked at it, and through CoStar, it'll show you all this stuff. It'll show you like, hey, the reason it's worth this much is because they signed 2 new tenants. Well, who are the tenants that increased the value this much? It showed me that it was Xfinity and a fast food, some local restaurant user. And I looked, I was like, well, man, that increased the value quite a bit. And I looked at it, they showed the income stream. And just seeing cases like that, especially in your surrounding areas, will start getting the wheels turning of how this value creation is happening, basically.
I love it, man. Yeah. Not sure. A lot of people are going to go out there and get CoStar, but I definitely think, seeing those trends, and I think I always say success leaves clues, right? And so that's like identifying, hey, there's this Mexican restaurant or any example, and I followed it and I saw what they did. Then it's just rinse and repeat, right?
100%. So you're very correct, because when I first started out, I didn't really see many case studies, and I was in the same position. I was like, man, how do I learn this? Like, where can I learn this stuff? I found a few videos for a few influencers that kind of roughly glanced over it. So what I've done, I'm very open with a lot of stuff that I do. So on my Facebook group and groups that I'm part of, I literally lay out entire case studies of what I've done. I show people like, hey, I purchased X building for this much, and these are step 1 through 15 of what I did to generate this income. So I'm kind of doing my part to kind of show this information and posting it on my Facebook group and other groups as well.
What else would you like to share with our audience about this sort of investing vehicle?
Sure. It is a phenomenal way of creating wealth slowly, right? Biggest thing is just remember you are creating financial products, and you need to look at every building that's available around you that you're interested in or learning about. Be like, how can I add value to it? What can I do to increase the income flow of this specific building? And once you start asking these questions, they'll start taking you down rabbit holes, and you'll quickly start picking up examples of what to do.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I actually love the fact that you just went like balls deep and like jumped right in, because I think It's scary, but you learn so
I
fast,
did.
right?
It's much.
It's the fast track. It's like if you can go spend 2 years educating yourself and never do a deal. You can go get into a deal, and within 6 months, you know way more than that 2-year example. So, I really like that, and I think I highly recommend. We'll include Sammer's all his Facebook information and all his links to all his accounts. So be out there. I know I'm going to be following you a lot more closely to see steps 1 through 15, because this is a space I'm definitely interested about. Knowing you and spending time with you in Cabo or in Cancun, and the time I spent with you and your wife. Like I was just like I'm like I want to know more about this.
Absolutely.
Hi, my name is Chris Hallam of Simplicity Lending Group and powered by Nexa Mortgage. I'm a trusted and experienced loan officer who will work with you to find the best mortgage options for your needs. From first-time homebuyers to experienced investors, I have a wide variety of loan options and competitive rates, which makes me the perfect choice for those who are in need of creative financing. Contact me today and take the first step towards financial stability.
So, switching gears now, are you ready for the hot seat?
I am.
All right. We ask all our guests the same final 4 hot questions. And so, number 1, what is one book you'd recommend to someone wanting to know more about real estate investing?
Okay, so I'm going to turn this around. I'm gonna be a very difficult interview. I will have a specific book, and it's kind of something I already shared. I recommend, in the times that we live in, rather than a book, I would tell you, go on real estate Twitter, go on these Facebook groups. You are going to learn so much more about it just going through these groups. I'm telling you, specifically the commercial real estate Twitter, I learn from people that are anonymous, like the strip mall guy or triple net investment guy. They will tell you all their trade secrets, everything they've done, and it's shared on these platforms. It is phenomenal, the stuff you will learn on these websites and on Twitter, on Facebook. So my recommendation is go to those. There's not one specific book that'll teach you this.
Hey, I love it, because actually I was finding a lot more information out there, but not necessarily on Twitter until you told me that. And and since I'm obsessed with Twitter and all the information. Like you said, there's so many individuals out there sharing so much knowledge that it's just one more area that you can go out there and find, and it's real time, right? Sometimes the issue with books is they're written 10 years ago, it's a little outdated or whatever. But all right, so Sammer, what is your favorite productivity tip or trick, maybe a tool or time saver, an app that you really love to utilize?
Best tip or advice that I have is delegate, delegate, delegate. I cannot stress this enough, especially for a person who's not doing real estate full-time, like healthcare or any other field, is you will become a bottleneck eventually, right? And there will be people that will do certain jobs better than you can ever do it. That's just the reality of it, right? So learn to delegate, learn to find high-quality property managers that can handle your properties to allow you to expand, right? And delegate to that. So delegate to property managers. Delegate to the best third-party brokers that you can find. Delegate to them. Just delegate, delegate, delegate. It will allow you to scale on a much quicker and better rate.
Love it. What's your biggest real estate mistake or failure, and what did you learn from that experience?
My biggest mistake as of now, because I'm sure there'll be plenty more to come, right? The biggest mistake that I've made is, and there's 2 mistakes into one building, in one project. The biggest mistake that I did is I was trying to penny pinch on the contractor. So I picked a contractor that was less expensive than other contractors, and that bit me in the butt significantly. I was delayed by maybe 6 or 7 months. I lost maybe 6 or 7 months of rental income. People don't realize this, there are windows of opportunity to buy and sell certain properties, right? When interest rates are almost zero, that's the time to sell. I missed opportunities of selling because I got delayed from construction. So biggest mistake was penny pinching the contractor instead of getting the highest, best quality contractor at a reasonable rate. Don't go cheap on contractors. Number 2 is not focusing and paying attention to small details in leases. And I'll give you an example. There's a full service lease that I will never do ever again after this. Is I had a tenant that I agreed, because they were a government tenant, I agreed to give them a full service lease where I pay the utilities, their taxes, insurance, common area maintenance, all that. I pay for all of it. And I estimated that utilities are going to be about $1,500 a month. Well, they're a much heavier power user than I expected, and they used about $3,000 of utilities per month. And the way I set up the contract, and this is, having a good team is very helpful. They missed this, is the way we wrote out the contract is I could renegotiate the utilities every 12 months. So I was stuck for 12 months paying that extra $1,500 a month, and I couldn't do anything about it till 12 months later. So that was a $12,000, or almost $15,000 lesson.
And you'll never do it again, right?
Never do it again.
Yeah.
Never do it again.
Expensive lesson, but maybe a cheap lesson, because you could have screwed up a lot longer or later down the line. And then finally, if you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
If I can be remembered for one thing, I would like to think that I am remembered for being very motivated, very ambitious, but I'm a very family-oriented and a friend-oriented person, that everything that I try to do in my life, like trying to raise myself, I try to do it, not just me, but the people around me, because, it's nice being successful with loved ones. So I'd like to be remembered as somebody that, raised not only myself, but, creating a very comfortable and loving environment for everybody else to go up with.
No, that's awesome. And you're a great guy, man. I've had the pleasure of meeting you a couple times in person, and your wife, and really excited for you guys. And by the time this airs, we'll have a little beautiful new baby girl
baby
on the
Sophia,
way for you.
I'm excited.
Baby
I can't
Sophia.
wait. Yeah,
that's gonna be amazing. It's girl dads. It's the best, man. So the best place for our Hot REI community to connect with Samer is again on Facebook or Instagram. We'll include those show notes, as well as Healthy CRE, which is a Facebook group for medical professionals investing in commercial real estate. Samer, again, dude, just thank you so much for joining me today. This was a lot of fun. Always a pleasure to talk. And if you don't know much about commercial real estate, especially within this retail setting, I think we've given you a lot of avenues to go to. Follow Samer on Facebook and Instagram. Go to the Facebook site, and he also recommended highly Twitter, commercial real estate followers, so that you can go out there and learn everything you want about this asset class. For the audience, thank you guys for tuning in today, and commit to take action this week to move your investing forward. Take care, and God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Hot Real Estate Investing Podcast. Check out our website, hotrei.com, for additional content and resources. And please take a moment to subscribe and leave a review so we can continue to bring even more value to others through real estate investing.